This video contains a hidden Marco. A very sneaky bird boy is lurking somewhere, and I want you to let me know if you find him. Hello and welcome to the Grand Line Review, your source for everything One Piece. My name is Liam, and one of my favorite things in this world is Paris in the spring, because winter is cold, summer is hot, and autumn is, well, its leaf. But today we are here to talk about One Piece things that you may think may be true, but does not necessarily fit the definition of truth. Instead, such things may be classified with a word that I like to call false, and have such become glorious One Piece myths. And we are going to eviscerate these myths like Big Mom at a wedding. So originally I was going to say wedding cake, but then I thought to myself, no, she's going to eat all of the guests as well. But it's all going to begin with a quick round of, hey fruit, what you doing? That's not where a fruit should be. A very simple minigame, the rules of which are as follows. Here we have 3 One Piece world locations, and one of them is going to contain a hidden devil fruit. And it's going to be your job to guess which location it is. Should you guess incorrectly, then your punishment will be to subscribe to the Grand Line Review, thus resulting in consistent injections of One Piece culture administered directly into your YouTube feed. And if you are correct, then you will be given this piece of corn. Not a fruit, I know, but more like a devil vegetable. But which location will it be? Impel Down, Arlong Park, or Gaimon's special place? Make your choice now and we shall reveal the answer in 3, 2, 1, and bam, it was Arlong Park. Very unexpected because fishmen and devil fruits tend not to be a favorable combination. But if you guessed incorrectly, then you know the thing to do, and please do say hi in the comments below if you are a new member of the Grand Fleet. Welcome. And rather conveniently, Arlong Park is also the source of our first One Piece myth, because for as long as I've been running this channel, which, well, conveniently it's about this many years, I've been getting these very strange comments about Arlong. And it has become apparent to me that there is a rather substantial portion of the One Piece fanbase who legitimately believe that Arlong was once one of the 7 warlords. And if you are one of them, then I need to tell you right here and now that no, this is not true. This has always kind of blown my mind though, because I legitimately have no idea where this comes from. Although the people who are under this impression claims that it spawns from Yosaku's explanation of the 7 warlords to Luffy and Sanji. Yosaku casually name drops Jinbei and says that he released Arlong into East Blue, and somehow things are getting mixed up here. So I've researched this pretty extensively, because usually when one of these miscommunications occurs, it's because of a weird translation somewhere. So I looked at the Viz manga translation, I searched for manga scans, I watched the Funimation subs, I watched the English dub, and I even looked at the 4Kids dub, but in each and every one of them, it mentions that Jinbei is the warlord and not Arlong. Now granted, I might have missed something. It could be a foreign translation or even an alternate English dub, because those do exist. But right now I have very little choice but to conclude that this is an example of the Mandela effect, where a segment of society have this vivid memory of something that just never happened. Star Wars is a classic example. Most people remember Darth Vader's classic line in Empire as, "Luke, I am your father." But he never said that. Instead he says, "No, I am your father." Or for an example of another phenomena, in the intro of this video, I bet most of you didn't even notice that the sentence Paris in the spring actually features 2 thes. Because sometimes the information is there, it's right in front of your eyes, but that doesn't mean that we necessarily take it in. And with One Piece, I suspect that Jinbei's name either vanished or never even registered in certain people's memories, leaving them with only 2 words. Those words being Arlong and Warlord, and then they got like smushed together. But in this case, I'm afraid that the real warlord is in fact Jinbei. Jinbei being the first son of the sea, whilst Arlong is more of the, the disgraced 4th cousin of the sea. You know, the one who does all sorts of like sea drugs during family gatherings, and is a great disappointment to his parents, Water and Mrs. Water. It also probably doesn't help that Yosaku stated that Jinbei and Arlong were once equals, and also Arlong was working with the rat-based marine, so all of that might become a bit of a messy mess, resulting in a messy impression of Arlong as well. Warlord, maybe, and a fish, marines, I don't know. The truth is in there somewhere, but it's just too much of a mess to sift through. Not as messy as, say, Treble, but then again, nothing is. Which segues us awkwardly into our next big myth, being the thought that Treble is a Logia devil fruit user. Treble is a lot of things. Sausage enthusiast, snot dropperer, and even a horrifying part-time cosplayer, but a Logia he is not. And the confusion seems to stem, rather understandably, from his fights against both Usopp and Law, in which Treble was seemingly cut cut into pieces. And to be fair, at the time, all of us weekly manga people took this information as pretty much confirmation that Treble was indeed a Logia. And just like Katakuri, it is possible that Oda originally intended Treble to be a Logia user, but later changed that classification to Paramecia for unspecified reasons. So what Treble actually does is that he generates a large faux body out of the mucus to make himself appear like a big scary man thing, when in reality he is a scrawny, middle-aged human clad in nothing but his underwear in public. Not just any underwear either, but white underwear. Who wears white underwear? That is just a disaster waiting to happen. And as for an explanation of exactly how he can be sliced up, it's pretty much exactly the same as how Pika's Devil Fruit operates. Treble's full body, his full real body, is contained within a piece of mucus Treble, and so it's just the mucus that got sliced and not the actual body. Yes, it's awkward, and it's also potentially a bit of a retcon by Oda, but it is what it is, and it, being Treble, is greatly disappointing. Anyway, now let's talk about death. No, wait, no, it needs to be much more dramatic than that. Now let's talk about death. It's always fun to use lights. One of the biggest myths that has been perpetuated in the One Piece fanbase since forever is the claim that Oda has once stated that a Straw Hat will die. And this becomes the basis for a lot of discussion about death over, well, who will it be? Usopp's a very popular candidate, so is Jinbei. Luffy is up there as well. But did Oda actually say this? Well, the very first Google search result claims that, as Oda has already stated in an interview in 2017, that one of the Straw Hats will die by the end of the One Piece. Really? The end of the One Piece? The one? Okay, this source is already extraordinarily dubious. And look, it does sound nice and all. I mean, stating a specific year does usually lend a lot of credibility, but just like Foxy's tremendous popularity, this never happened. Nobody anywhere can actually show you this interview because it does not exist. And not just from 2017 either, but from any year. Another commonly cited one is an interview in 2003, but this is even more non-existent, if indeed something can exist less than something else that already does not exist at all. I don't know, scientists, let me know if that's possible. It also tends to get conflated a lot with the idea of Oda foreshadowing the death of the Going Merry in an interview. Once again, this foreshadowing also never happened. And everything we know about Oda's plans for the Going Merry comes from retrospective interviews which were conducted much later, which was actually explored in this video about the abandoned concepts of One Piece. Go watch, is good, yes. Anyway, long story less long, Oda has to this point never said that a Straw Hat is going to die. Please do not believe everything that random people tell you on the internet, especially not me. And not only that, but sometimes you should also be skeptical of official sources because they don't always get it right, and a fantastic example of this is anything to do with the early Viz manga translation. Kind of like Warlord Arlong, there is a segment of fans out there who believe that Luffy's Devil Fruit came from an item known as the Gum Gum Tree. But unlike Warlord Arlong, it's hard to blame them for this belief because in the Viz translation of chapter 13, Luffy quite literally states, "A long time ago, I ate the fruit of the Gum Gum Tree." To which Moji states, "You ate the devil's fruit," like Captain Buggy. Yes, the devil's fruit. Look, I'm not here to defend early Viz. It was a very dark time for the official One Piece. But what I am here to do is emphasize that there is no such thing as a Gum Gum Tree. Unless you're reading the Romance Dawn one-shots where there is a tree mentioned, and that's potentially the origin of why Viz decided to translate the line this way, but no, the Gum Gum Tree is not a thing. Scanlations also have quite a bit to answer for in the realm of myths, because I don't think there is a greater source of mini-myths than the ones generated by fan translations of the manga. And one of the more recent myths to develop is the tale that young Buggy caught Usopp's fictional "I can't go to this island" disease. In fact, I even referenced this in my video about how Usopp's lies break and even dictate the very course of One Piece, although I do it for more of a comical effect than to state a fact. Sometimes I try to be funny, and it often doesn't work out, but I do try. And that's very different from what one particular Scanlation group decided to do, which was to effectively change the line about Buggy's sudden illness and add in their own original line saying, "Apparently it's called the 'you'll die if you go to that island' disease." And while this could definitely be Oda making a cheeky reference to that Usopp lie, actively spreading false information is, well, it is less than helpful. So now there are a whole legion of online fans who believe that Buggy was quite literally eventually diagnosed with Usopp's fake disease. And Buggy's fellow ex-war boy, Edward Weevil, has also been given a mythical diagnosis within the fanbase, that diagnosis being an arm cutter offerer. So this gets a little confusing because we're dealing with non-canon material now, but this is all about Zephyr, the main antagonist of One Piece Film Z. His very existence brings a few problems to One Piece, and one of the biggest is who exactly was responsible for de-arming him. It's intriguing because it's said that the pirate who injured Zephyr was given a position as a Warlord of the Sea during the 2-year time skip. So that immediately narrows down the candidates of who could have done it to a mere 3: Buggy, Law, and Weevil. And via the process of elimination, we need to land on Weevil. A very harsh landing as well if you find yourself on that ever-pointy crescent moustache. But the idea is that because Zephyr's arm was removed from his body 9 years ago, according to an assortment of information in Volume 1000, that means that Law would have been too young and Buggy would have been too, well, he would have been Buggy. Which is true of him at any age, to be fair, but he is not removing that arm. So the only reasonable option that remains is Weevil, who we cannot confirm one way or the other. Hence the myth spreading that Weevil is the person responsible for Zephyr's arm thing. And it is also somewhat reasonable, but also really weird, because Weevil is, yes, he is age appropriate, but he is also meant to be a very new figure on the radar of the world government. They've only recently discovered this alleged son of Whitebeard who has been lingering in the shadows, but you'd think that they would be pretty aware of Weevil if indeed he was responsible for mortally wounding a former Marine Admiral. I guess the saving grace of this myth is, well, it doesn't actually matter, because Zephyr isn't canon, so it's no big deal. I mean, other than the fact that his arm is a literal cannon and it's pretty big. I mean, these non-canon cannons always trip me up, just like Alpacachino, another literal non-canon cannon. But you know who or even what is a big deal though? Sentomaru. Well, maybe he's just big. I don't know. It's hard to quantify how much one should care about him because he hasn't appeared since chapter 603, which was published in the year 2010, so it's been a while. What you up to, Sentomaru? He is the source of an ongoing myth though, and we are going to call this the Uncle Kizaru myth. There is a very prominent belief out there that Kizaru is Sentomaru's uncle, and once again this more than likely spawns from some fan translations. Sentomaru refers to him as Kizaru no Ojiki, which does literally mean uncle. However, it's a term that's also widely used amongst Yakuza to refer to someone as a boss. So with that in mind, in the English translation, Sentomaru actually calls him Old Man Kizaru or just Old Man. It depends how angry Sentomaru is at the time. But this implies that they do have some relationship that is not simply officer and soldier, but also not literal family. More like the Dominic Toretto style of family, because that's a meme that I'm sure will still be relevant whenever this video comes out. Yeah, way to stay current, Liam. But for something that's always relevant, here is another video. It's about One Piece as well, which is the thing that you like. There's always more to learn, experience, and enjoy about this wonderful series, so I look forward to seeing you there.